Okay, Awesome 2 or Amazing Spider-Man 2. First right off the bat, is this better than the Sam Raimi trilogy number 2? No. But then again, I'm not part of the Andrew Garfield target demographic. So in this one, the fantastic part, like this is a great part. Gwen Stacy, really solid job. The guy who plays Harry Osborn, who was in Chronicle as well as Lawless, fantastic job. He has a fantastic scene-sealing performance. All the way going from him showing up as Harry Osborn and his background, really good, just, I'm watching him going, man, if he was a little bit taller or a little bit, beefier, he'd be an awesome Batman. Right now he'd probably make a fantastic Robin or a Nightwing. Or a Damian, because he's still short enough in stature. His transition from Harry Osborn all the way to the Green Goblin, great. The scenes where he has the full suit on, good. He does a very solid job. He almost hits like the Willem Dafoe level of the Green Goblin. He vast upgrade over James Franco. Sorry, James, great actor, but you're just totally outshined on this. Jamie Foxx is Electro. His Max Dillon character is bad. Really, really bad. It's almost like the person who made this movie watched Batman Returns and watched the Michelle Pfeiffer character go from being like, no one notices her, kind of weak, kind of mealy, horrible tragedy happens, and he falls into a tank full of bioengineered electric eels. And he's got this, and the moment he becomes Electro, he goes from being very sympathetic to just crazy towards the end. The battle sequences between Electro and Spider-Man are definitely designed to be seen in 3D, so they kind of suck to watch in 2D. They also do a scene where they're battling essentially a giant, like a power station, and he does, once it's a theremin, he uses his powers to make a theremin to play Itsy Bitsy Spider while he's just whooping the daylights out of Spider-Man. Paul Giamatti is Rhino. If you thought there were too many villains, don't worry. If you've watched a couple of different trailers for Awesome 2, you will have realized you've seen all of Paul Giamatti's scenes. He's in the very beginning and the very end. You could almost entirely cut his character out and it does nothing to the plot. It's like he was thrown in to kind of segue into the next series of films. So now Andrew Garfield. Again, he does a great job as Spider-Man. It's a horrible job as Peter Parker. This is where the film kind of grinds to a halt. When he's Spider-Man, great, witty, good job on the banter. That portion he does well. When he's Peter Parker, it seems like people are really trying to engage him in conversation, and it just comes off really forced. And he has quite a few crying scenes that come off, forced. He's with the mask on, he's great, perfect choice with the mask off. He's just. They also do a target demographic scene towards the end that was just really off-putting. I know they want to put a little kid in the film because little kids are supposed to be drawn to Spider-Man, but for anybody else, it's gonna be like, oh, yeah, you kind of had to throw that in there, didn't you? Overall, good movie, very solid effort. Out of the sequels that have come out so far this year, it is no Winter Soldier. It's not close to Winter Soldier. The Easter eggs, if you've seen any of the trailers, you've seen that they have Doc Ock's tentacles in the background. You've seen that they've got the Vulture's wings in the background. So you know of that. So now we're going to the story. The story is Peter Parker graduates from high school. He's constantly seeing the ghost of Dennis Leary, Gwen Stacy's father. Decides that he has to break up with her so she doesn't get injured. Horrible accident creates Electro. Electro battles Spider-Man. Harry Osborn has like a retrovirus, which is slowly killing him. He wants Spider-Man's blood. Spider-Man says no, so therefore that sets up your the conflict between those two. And it works pretty well. nice job on those couple of scenes. Instead of the whole "you killed my father," it's I need your blood to save my life. No, I can't do that because I don't know what's going to happen to you. And they also do a lot more of the forced flashback. And of course, if you see any of the trailers, you do realize that Spider-Man does yet again go underground to find Magical Expedition Laboratory. Or Expedition Laboratory. Which is kind of lame to see them do that again. And if he's such a genius, you might have realized that the Peters are actually upside down. And I think he's always using the search engine to try to find out anything. So it's kind of like, okay. So overall, good movie, solid effort. It's got a decent amount of flaws to it. It's by no means perfect, but a very, very solid effort. Very, very little in the way of spoilers, but I'll get into those in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goose egg. Okay, spoilers. The scene at the end of the credits more or less shows bits and pieces of who the Sinister Six are going to be. So you got 2 of them already in there. They do mention, of course, Vulture, Doc Ock, Craven, and it could either be Chameleon or Mysterio. If it's Mysterio, that could be awesome. I think he'd be a fantastic villain. Chameleon, a shapeshifter, we've seen that before in enough movies. Someone who uses super elaborate illusions would be fantastic from a visual perspective. Plus he's permanent to visual arts. In one of the trailers they show Gwen Stacy falling. They don't show us her landing. Yes, they actually do have Spider-Man shoot webbing through a super elaborate clockwork falling apart sort of thing. Like, the clock is pretty much destroyed, so all the gears are falling. Stacy pretty much survives the severe litany of gears falling. Spider-Man's web hits her in the chest and snaps her neck. It's hard if it snaps her neck or if she actually does, like, crack her skull at the very bottom of the clock tower. And I was like, oh man, that's sad. But then after she dies, he quits being Spider-Man. So even though he goes to the funeral, which would be a nice way to end it, that's not how the movie ends. It goes from the funeral to him, like, moping around. I was expecting for him, all of a sudden just kind of, like, dye his hair black, comb it to the side, and be like, now dig on this. Maybe start dancing, maybe go a little bit emo Spider-Man on us for a few minutes. And that's not until Rhino begins to terrorize the population. And then he gets, the Aunt May, oh, too bad Spider-Man's not here speech. And then he finally decides to watch Gwen Stacy's speech. Even though they mentioned that the last time Spider-Man was seen was months ago. So he finally decides to go through and find this little jump drive. And her speech is all about, hope and being greater than all the suffering and the pain that you've endured. Which then makes him open a closet where his mask is at. So the Spider-Man who constantly takes his mask off to fight almost everybody. Also at the exact same time as the Spider-Man who pretty much leaves his suit sitting on top of everything in his closet. He then goes to fight Rhino. And if you've seen the trailer where he pretty much takes a manhole cover and knocks out missiles, then hits Rhino in the head with it, that's pretty much the end of the film. So, nice movie, visually impressive. Seeing it in 2D, lots of the effects you can tell are designed for 3D, so they look really bad on a 2D. Some of the scenes were very much like video game cutscenes. I expected to see, up in the top corner, like, down, square, and X. But, from a visual standpoint, good. Some spots, like I said, kind of just were just really bad. You can tell they were designed for 3D and in a 2D format. The fact that you actually see something entirely in the foreground and something entirely in the background, without seeing the depth you get from a 3D glass perspective, it really does look like you're looking at 2 individual CGI things going back and forth.